We have the judge standing by to talk about one of our top stories this morning. We were talking about the Facebook and the testimony from Zuckerberg yesterday, but let's talk about Facebook's role in the Russia meddling probe. CEO Mark Zuckerberg revealed during that testimony that the tech titan is working with special counsel Robert Mueller.
I assume Facebook's been served with subpoenas from the special counsel Mueller's office. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have you or anyone at Facebook been interviewed by the special counsel's office?
Yes.
Have you been interviewed?
I have not. Let me clarify that. I actually am not aware of a subpoena. I believe that there may be, but I know we're working with them.
Joining me right now, Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, just your thoughts.
Well, sometimes when the government wants information, it breaks down doors, like it did to the doors of the Trump organization at 5:30 in the morning to get to Michael Cohen's records on the inside. And sometimes it just says, Mr. Zuckerberg, can we speak to your people? No search warrant, no FBI agents, no guns drawn, no subpoena. So I would imagine that they used a softer approach with Mr. Zuckerberg's people than they did with Michael Cohen, meaning they sent some FBI agents there to engage in what appeared to be friendly conversations about how, tell us how you know who's placing these ads. Are these Russians? Are these people who are pretending to be Americans? Give us the technology. Talk us through it. And they probably willingly did that. He might be personally unfamiliar with the conversation. He may think it's pursuant to a subpoena. My guess is it's probably just a friendly request. The government comes knocking and asks you to talk to them. You can say yes or you can say no.
But my reaction to that was, I wonder if people will be upset that without a subpoena that Facebook potentially hands over or reveals private information that's on the network. Because I just go back to Apple, and Apple fighting tooth and nail in the court system to avoid rewriting an operating system, to allow the FBI in to look at the San Bernardino killer's phone.
My buddies at the FBI were not happy with me, but I cheered Apple on. They did the exact right thing for their customers.
And I realize now why Apple did it. I realize now because now Tim Cook has two strong legs to stand on in terms of protecting people's privacy.
Correct. Now, we don't know. Senator Leahy, in my view, asked the right questions. He could have gone deeper, but I don't know that Mark Zuckerberg would have known the answer. We don't know exactly what information Bob Mueller's people, FBI agents, got from the Facebook team, whether they got personal, private information. Theoretically, if Facebook received a subpoena for Dagan McDowell's account, they would notify you to give you and your lawyers the opportunity to negotiate the subpoena or to ask a judge to quash it. I say theoretically. That doesn't always work that way.
And it didn't, I mean, it's not, maybe it's not apples to apples on the comparison, but it didn't work that way in the Cambridge Analytica case, right? And that's why it got brought up a little bit yesterday. And that's why I think that's sort of at the heart of this matter is what are we as users of Facebook? There's so much focus yesterday on how they use their data for advertising. That's their business model. But what do we as users of Facebook have a right to know? So if there's a breach of my data, somebody gets my credit card information, that day the bank's telling me, hey, they got your credit card, you need to get a new card. Whereas in the Cambridge Analytica case, they took forever to tell. They didn't tell anybody.
I just want to point out something really quick. This is beyond to understand what Facebook was doing. From 2007 until 2015, it's not about Cambridge Analytica. It's about your information was being accessed via friends apps.
Correct.
And no one knew that any app developer was accessing your information.
Fully agreed. Fully agreed. And you know, we're talking about a private entity here that has agreements with the Federal Trade Commission to inform Connell if, for example, there was a breach of your account. And the failure to do that results in a fine, sounds small, but do the math, of $40,000 per breach. You had 87 million breaches. Do the math. That's a huge number, even for Zuckerberg.
And by the way, that consent decree was put in place 2 years before they actually ended the practice of letting all the app developers access the information from not only the app users, but the friends of the app users.
All right, can I talk to you about delicious irony? These senators ranting and raving about Facebook violating privacy. What is the greatest violator of personal privacy on the planet? The federal government.
government.
The government that they run and that they fund and that they authorize.
Anchor, do you
I'm
want to
sorry.
ask?
No, it's funny. We were just saying that. I mean, the amount of what data does the federal government not have access to, anyways, that they're looking for from Facebook for this particular case?
I don't know that there's an answer to that question. They can get everything.
That's right.
They know everywhere I go when this is with me, every conversation I have, even when you and I talk in the green room, every email that I send and every text that I
Isn't
send.
that the irony?
That's not just me. It's all
You
of
know,
us.
it's the irony, right? Everyone is worried about Facebook listening to your microphone, but the Feds actually have the ability to listen to your
Correct.
microphone.
Correct.
I want to move on to this. Let's talk about the future of the special counsel.
Judge is worked up.
Turn your location services off, Judge.